Hi, this is Amharic Masterclass with your friend Itaga Sundada. You can actually call me Ite for short, if Itagas was a little difficult for you to pronounce. Okay, you could practice it. Just practice it this way. Yitagasu. So one of the characteristics of Amharic is basically you'll have to stress each and every syllable. Okay, it's not like English. You don't just, run over it. You don't do that. But in Amharic, what you need to do is you'll have to stress each and every syllable. So today I want to talk to you about introduction. How do you introduce yourself? Self-introduction. That's what I'm going to talk to you about. I actually talked about it in the past, and you might have checked it out, but I think it's important to add some more details and revisit it, because in the series that I'm making, I think if I don't start with this, it won't make sense, So for me to be able to keep making this series, I think it's what I figured was I just wanted to start with self-introduction. That way I could take you from the beginning, not up until the end, because there's no end in language. Language is this vast ocean that a person has to sort of navigate forever. So how do you introduce yourself in Amharic? Okay, there are some things that you need to consider before you introduce yourself. There are some important words that you have to put in mind before you go ahead and form a sentence or form some sort of paragraph. Okay, so what do we do? By the way, everything I talk about off this paper is right here, okay? This is for me to talk about it, and everything you see right next to me is actually added later in the editing or in post. Okay, so what do you need to do first when you talk about yourself? First, you need to talk about name, right? So in Amharic, name means sim. Sim, can you say that? Sim, that's name, okay? Great. Place of birth, that is Ye Tulid Bota. Ye Tulid Bota. Is it in Addis Ababa or in Washington, D.C. or where is it? Is it in Europe, somewhere in Europe? So Ye Tulid Bota. By the way, you could repeat after me every time I say the words out loud, okay? Sim Ye Tulid Bota. And we have time of birth, place of birth, and then we have time of birth. Ye Tulid Gize. Ye Tulid Gize. Or you can replace Gize. So you might hear some people pronounce the word Gize as Gize. They're pretty much the same. That's called the three variation in linguistics. So anyway, you can replace Gize with Zemen. Zemen. Ye Tulid Zemen or Ye Tulid Gize. Got it? Okay. Another one is residence or address. That is Adrasha. Adrasha. Where you live, right? Adrasha. Can you say it? Adrasha. Okay. Academic background. Academic background. Academic background meaning Yetimirt Huneta. Let's do it together. Yetimirt Huneta. Yetimirt Huneta. Yetimirt Huneta. Yetimirt Huneta. Yetimirt Huneta. Yetimirt Huneta. We go slow first, and then we go a little fast. Okay? That's how we do it. Ashi. Another one, we have career, work, and job. We have career, work, and job. They're all the same. In English, okay. Career is one thing, work is another thing, and then we have job. But in Amharic, we have one word, okay? Oh, by the way, we could also add business, okay? Business. In Amharic, they're all the same. The context sort of gives you that difference, but they're all the same. And they all mean sra, okay? Sra. Can you say it? Sra. 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 Perfect. Sra. We're good? Okay. Practice with me, everybody. Another one is hobby. Hobby is meznanya in Amharic. Meznanya. መዝናኛ. መዝናኛ. So መዝናኛ, in other words, it's also entertainment. You know, it actually means entertainment. So anyway, hobby, like whatever you do in your free time, right? That's what it is. So in Amharic, we call it መዝናኛ. መዝናኛ. Are we good? Okay. Finally, ambition. Ambition means ምኞት. ምኞት also means wish, by the way. Wish, okay? They're actually related. Oshi, let's practice the words, the Amharic words together. Number one, sim. 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 የትውልድ ቦታ. የትውልድ ቦታ. የትውልድ ጊዜ. Or የትውልድ ዘመን. የትውልድ ጊዜ or የትውልድ ዘመን. By the way, if you want to say or in Amharic, you can say ወይም, okay? ወይም, ወይ, ይም, ወይ, ይም, as you can see. የትውልድ ጊዜ ወይም ዘመን. Good? When you ask, actually, when you ask the question, you don't use the two words at the same time. You got to use one of the two, either ጊዜ or ዘመን. Okay? Yeah. የትውልድ ጊዜ or ምንድን ነው? የትውልድ ጊዜ ወይም ዘመን. We're good? Okay. Good job. ሌላ, another one. ሌላ means another. አድራሻ. አድራሻ. I'm not going to tell you the meaning in English. You already know that. አድራሻ. As you can see. አድራሻ. No. አድራሻ. Ad is English, you know. It sort of hits me once in a while. እሺ. So, አድራሻ. In Amharic, you'll have to stress everything. It's not አድራሻ. No. It's አድራሻ. Okay? I know how you say it. A lot of you say it, by the way. I know it. And I understand. So it's important to sort of carve it a little bit. እሺ. አድራሻ. የትምህርት ሁኔታ. የትምህርት ሁኔታ. የትምህርት ሁኔታ. Fantastic. Another one, ሌላ መዝናኛ. Hobby. Finally, መጨረሻ, you know, finally, መጨረሻ, we have ምኞት. ምኞት. That is ambition or wish. ምኞት. So let's make sentences. Let's say, what is your name? Where were you born? When were you born? Where do you live? What is your academic background? What do you do? Are you married? Do you have hobbies? What do you want to do, or what do you want to be? These are some of the questions that we could probably ask someone when we want them to introduce themselves, right? Or when we want to know more about that person. So how do we do this in Amharic? Okay, so I want to give you those sentences. So everything I talk about is here, as you can see. And of course, I look at my paper here, but later in post, what we do is we put this in here. That's what we do. Okay, so it's Q&A sort of thing. After I give you the questions, and after I later give you some answers, some sample introductions, what I'm going to do is, I would love to see how you introduce yourself down there in the comment section. I'm not going to leave you without making you be able to introduce yourself, by the way. Okay? So, Asti, let's get to the questions together. What is your name? If it's masculine, you would say, ስምህ ማን ነው? ስምህ ማን ነው? ስምህ ማን ነው? What is your name? If it's feminine, you would say ስምሽ ማን ነው? ስምሽ ማን ነው? Okay. You know, in Amharic, probably in some other language, we have masculine and then feminine sort of thing, right? So if the word ends with h, it's usually masculine. If it ends with sh and some other variations, it's actually feminine. We'll talk about these as we go on this class. So ስምህ ማን ነው? ወይም or ስምሽ ማን ነው? Let's see, can you say it with me? By the way, repeat after me each time I pronounce these words. ስምህ ማን ነው? ስምሽ ማን ነው? ስምህ ማን ነው? ስምሽ ማን ነው? ስምህ ማን ነው? ስምህ ማን ነው? ስምሽ ማን ነው? See, that's how you do it. Okay. ስምህ ማን ነው? ስምህ ማን ነው? ስምሽ ማን ነው? ስምሽ ማን ነው? ስምህ ማን ነው? ስምህ ማን ነው? ስምሽ ማን ነው? ስምሽ ማን ነው? Practice the two version. Go slow first and then go a little fast in the second try. All right, number 2. Where were you born? Right? As you can see. Let's put this in Amharic. Again, there's a masculine version and then there's a feminine version. Let's have a look at them. Yet no, meaning where. No means is, right? Yet no, የተወለድከው. That's what you see here. This is masculine. Yet no, የተወለድከው. Where were you born? Let me try to do this a little more slowly. Yet no, የተወለድከው. Co. You know, the d right at the end, it's like, it's not d-co. It's የተወለድከው. Let go. But yet no, የተወለድከው. Fantastic. Yet no, የተወለድከው. Feminine version, as you can see, yet no, የተወለድሽው. See the sh sound in there? That's a feminine marker, guys. Yet no, የተወለድሽው. Yet no, የተወለድሽው. Yet no, የተወለድከው. Yet no, የተወለድሽው. እሺ, when were you born? This is, by the way, yet means where. Meche, right here, means when. When were you born? When were you born? How do you say it? Meche no, የተወለድከው. የተወለድከው stays as it is. የተወለድሽው stays as it is. መቼ ነው የተወለድከው? መቼ ነው የተወለድሽው? We're good? With that in mind. Meche means when. Meche, you know, let me see you one of these days, whatever. Like if you want to be specific, in Amharic, you can say meche, you know. I'll come one of these days. Meche, you know, meche. When? Ashi. Another one. Ashi means okay or all right. By the way, every time I drop a word, I'll just say it, okay? There are some filler words in Amharic or in English and in many other languages, right? Every time, I think language teachers, especially foreign language teachers, should actually do this. Every time they drop a word, they got to say it, you know? So ashi means okay, right? Ashi. I just said it. All right, ashi. Leila, another one. Where do you live, right? Where do you live? So where do you live, as you can see, yet no. Where? Okay? Yet no. Yet no, የምትኖረው. 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 Got it? Okay. So, yet no, የምትኖረው. We're good? This is masculine. We have the feminine version as well. Yet no, የምትኖሪው. Yet no, የምትኖሪው. Yet no, የምትኖሪው. የምትኖሪው. የምትኖረው. የምትኖሪው. So first masculine, second feminine. Another one, you know, there are some other feminine or masculine markers too. It's not just the h or the sh. Earlier, I talked about the masculine and feminine markers, right? H, ስምህ, or ስምሽ, sh. But in here, what we find is የምትኖረው and የምትኖሪው. There are other masculine and feminine markers. That's what it means here. If it ends with O, that is masculine. If it ends with ew, that is feminine. So you'll come across this kind of feminine markers later when we actually talk about other vocabs in Amharic. Okay? Actually, so another one, what is your academic background? የትምህርት ሁኔታ. የትምህርት ሁኔታ. Yours. Ta. Yours. Okay? የትምህርት ሁኔታ or ወይም የትምህርት ሁኔታሽ. Your. Okay? እንዴት ነው? እንዴት ነው? የትምህርት ሁኔታ or የትምህርት ሁኔታሽ እንዴት ነው? Let's do it together. የትምህርት ሁኔታ or የትምህርት ሁኔታሽ እንዴት ነው? Are we good? ሌላ what do you do? Career, job, business, whatever. ስራ, right? That's what we called it. ስራ. So let's see, can you guess? Like, it's actually here. ስራ ምንድን ነው? ስራ ምንድን ነው? ስራሽ ምንድን ነው? What do you do? I'm a teacher. እኔ መምህር ነኝ. Okay, I'll talk about that later. I'll show you how to make sentences. Sometimes I sort of go ahead of the whole thing. So, yeah. Actually, anyway, what do you do? ስራ ምንድን ነው? Or ስራሽ ምንድን ነው? Next question. Are you married? Are you married? So that's the question, and this is how you ask. ባለትዳር ነህ? ባለትዳር ነህ? ትዳር means marriage. ባለትዳር ነህ? Okay, ባለትዳር ነህ? I mean, directly translated, what it means is, do you have marriage? But in English, you don't say, do you have marriage? By the way, what I do here is not a direct word-for-word translation sort of thing. That I'm not okay with. What I would go for is a sense-for-sense translation. What makes sense? Because it's important to be exposed, not just to a certain grammatical structure, but also what is in it, the context, the culture, and everything. So it's better to go with the sense than the direct word-for-word sort of translation. Okay, so ባለትዳር ነህ or ባለትዳር ነሽ? ባለትዳር ነሽ? ትዳር means marriage. If you want to go informal, like, there are formal language and there are informal language, you could just use one word. አግብተሃል? See? አግብተሃል? That's it. Right? Or አግብተሻል? That's informal. Okay? አግብተሻል? ሃል? ሻል? Remember? sh? The masculine and feminine markers, they're here. They're down here. So አግብተሃል? አግብተሻል? These are informal ways of asking someone whether he or she is married. እሺ, another one. Remember what hobby is? Hobby means መዝናኛ. So now we'll have to do a little readjustment on the word መዝናኛ. You know what I mean? There's a different conjugation over here. Let's see, let's have a look at it. I'll talk about Amharic conjugation later in the videos. But for now, I think it's important to know how to form this type of sentence. Like, how do you have hobbies sort of thing? Actually, let's do it. በምን ትዝናናለህ? ትዝናናለህ. በምን ትዝናናለህ? I mean, directly translated, you could probably say, what entertains you? What entertains you? Right? በምን ትዝናናለህ? Or በምን ትዝናኛለሽ? ኛለሽ, ትዝናኛለሽ. Directly translated, what entertains you? What makes you feel good? That's what it is. I go to the movies, I do this and I do that. በምን ትዝናናለህ? በምን ትዝናኛለሽ? Finally, so what do you want to do? What do you want to be? If it's a grown man like me, if you ask me, what do you want to be sort of thing? No, I mean, like, it may not make sense because I am what I wanted to be, right? Like, but a kid, how about a kid? ask a kid what he wants to be, he would say, I want to be a doctor. I want to be an engineer, right? That's what kids basically say. I said it when I was a kid. And, but me, like what you're going to ask me is, what do you want to do? Maybe travel, you know what I mean? Create some business, do this and that, whatever. Anyway, what do you want to be, or what do you want to do? من مهون تفلقال. من مهون. مهون means be, become. من مهون تفلقال. Or من مهون تفلقالش. If you ask this to a little girl, that makes sense. من مهون تفلقالش. See? Sh. Feminine marker. Another one. من مدرج تفلقال. مدرج means do, to do something. من مدرج تفلقال. What do you want to do? من مدرج تفلقال. These are some of the questions that you could use to get somebody to talk about himself or herself. If you're interested in our corporate or personal training packages, this is what you need to do. Talk to us at lincolnenglishworld@gmail.com. Or what's up? +251 913 226257. Down there, you can find everything down there. By the way, when you WhatsApp, you know who you're going to talk to? That's me. You will have an amazing time with us. See you in class, everybody. We talked about some of the important vocabs in self-introduction. And we also talked about the questions that are necessary to get somebody to talk about himself or herself. So today, I want to give you an example, okay? So there's this guy named Alex. By the way, Alex is also my name. Like, I couldn't think of anybody else's name. So my grandfather calls me Alex, and I just wanted to use my name up here. This information is not about me, okay? It's about a person named Alex. My name is Etiquette, so I primarily use this name. So this information is about somebody else named Alex. So I'll give you the expressions, the grammatical structures, so that you can be able to inculcate your own information. Okay? So I'll try to go as slowly as possible. Let's see, Alex, this is what he says in English. I'm Alex. I was born in Addis Ababa in 1990. Another one, I live in Addis Ababa around Bole. I have a degree in accounting. I'm an accountant. I like reading fictions. I want to travel in the future. So this is the English information. Now, let me give you the Amharic information, the grammatical structures, so that you could put your own information in there. እኔ Alex እባላለሁ. እኔ Alex እባላለሁ. By the way, there's a difference between እባላለሁ and እበላለሁ, as you can see. እበላለሁ means I eat, okay? እበላለሁ means I eat. So when you pronounce እባላለሁ, it's not እባላለሁ, no, እባላለሁ. See, Amharic is like, you need to stress each and every syllable. So just do that here. እባላለሁ, እባላለሁ, እባላለሁ. I'm sort of rapping over here. Okay. እኔ Alex እባላለሁ. Good job. I was born in 1990, Addis Ababa, in Addis Ababa. That's what it says, right? የተወለድኩት በ1990 አዲስ አበባ ነው። የተወለድኩት በ19 means in 1990 በ1990. Well, if we haven't already talked about numbers, I've actually talked about numbers. I've made a video about numbers. If I haven't already posted it here, maybe when I post it later, you could check out how to call numbers, you know, how to say numbers in English. In Amharic, actually. So, ችግር የለም. No problem. ችግር የለም. So, የተወለድኩት በ1990 አዲስ አበባ ነው. የተወለድኩት. የምኖረው live, okay? የምኖረው አዲስ አበባ ቦሌ. There's a place called Bole. Akababi? No. Akababi means around. የምኖረው አዲስ አበባ ቦሌ አካባቢ ነው. We're good? We're following everybody? Like I said, you can just put your information in place of Alex. And then you can practice. Okay? Let's do it. በአካውንቲንግ degree አለኝ. አለኝ means I have. በእንግሊሽ ማስተርስ አለኝ. በእንግሊሽ PhD አለኝ. በlaw ህግ, law means ህግ, degree አለኝ. We're good? in I have a degree in this and that. በአካውንቲንግ degree አለኝ. accountant ነኝ. I am an accountant. ነኝ means am. Any accountant ነኝ. You can just take out any, by the way, because in Amharic, verbs, by the way, the pronouns are embedded in the verbs. Okay? That's what Amharic is. It's not like English. In a formal English, or basically in a written English, you can't really do this. You can't take out I and just say, I'm this and I'm that. No. In Amharic, you can do it because the pronouns are already embedded in the verbs. መምህር ነኝ. I am a teacher. መምህር ነኝ. By the way, I'll talk about these things, the grammar and everything later in our videos. Another one, I like reading fictions, right? ልብ ወለድ. ልብ ወለድ means fiction. Be it a long fiction, like novels, or short fictions, short stories, stuff like that. Anything, fiction, that's what it is. ልብ ወለድ ማንበብ means reading or read. ማንበብ means to read, okay? To read. ልብ ወለድ ማንበብ እወዳለሁ. I like reading fictions. ልብ ወለድ ማንበብ እወዳለሁ. By the way, can you see the n and b thing right there? ማንበብ, right? That's what it says. As you can see, the b sound, the bilabial sound, the sound pronounced with our lips. That's the b, right? Manbab. The n and b right there. So it is preceded by n. So if a bilabial sound in linguistics, if a bilabial sound is preceded by another type of sound, what it does is it influences that sound to be just like it. Okay? So manbab, you can say that, no problem. But you can say mambab. Mambab. In English, for example, you know the word impossible, right? Impossible, by the way, it was in. It was impossible. So, but when we add in right before p, which is a bilabial sound, it influences it to be just like it. This is simple linguistics. So, mambab እወዳለሁ. እወዳለሁ means I like. For example, ቡና እወዳለሁ. ሻይ, tea እወዳለሁ. Juice እወዳለሁ. Avocado juice እወዳለሁ. Ananas juice እወዳለሁ. Ananas means pineapple. Well, in Arabic, I think it's pretty much the same. Ananas, yeah. We're good? Fantastic. Let's show you. One more thing, at last. ልብ ወለድ ማንበብ እወዳለሁ. Okay? For example, I would say film ማየት. ማየት means, see, watch. Film ማየት እወዳለሁ. እወዳለሁ means I like. ኳስ እወዳለሁ. ኳስ, football or soccer in America. Right? ኳስ እወዳለሁ. ኳስ ማየት እወዳለሁ. ፊልም ማየት እወዳለሁ. እሺ መጨረሻ finally ወደፊት, in the future. Okay? So that's what we're talking about. That's what wish is, right? It wouldn't be wish if if otherwise. ወደፊት ሀገር means country. ሀገር መጎብኘት visit. እፈልጋለሁ means I want. እወዳለሁ I like. እፈልጋለሁ I want. For example, you can go to a cafeteria, you can just say ሻይ እፈልጋለሁ, ቡና እፈልጋለሁ. That's possible. ወደፊት in the future ሀገር መጎብኘት እፈልጋለሁ. Let me say this one more time, the whole thing in Amharic, and then you guys will have your information in there and you'll be practicing it, okay? By the way, you can write down that information down there if you can, in the comment section. I could look at it, I could just say a few things down there, or maybe I could put everything together and talk about it, in another video. እኔ አሌክስ እባላለሁ። የተወለድኩት በ1990 አዲስ አበባ ነው። የምኖረው አዲስ አበባ ቦሌ አካባቢ ነው። Addis Ababa is the capital city of Ethiopia. It's actually the seat of the African Union, those who don't know it. So it's basically the capital city of Africa, not just Ethiopia. በአካውንቲንግ ዲግሪ አለኝ። በህግ or law ዲግሪ አለኝ። Law means ህግ። በtheology ዲግሪ አለኝ። አካውንታንት ነኝ። I am an accountant. መምህር ነኝ. I'm a teacher. Whatever you have. ልቦለድ ማንበብ እወዳለሁ. Remember the linguistic tricks that I talked about? ልቦለድ ማንበብ እወዳለሁ. ወደፊት ሀገር መጎብኘት እፈልጋለሁ. Now that you are able to introduce yourself, you also know some of the important vocabs in Amharic. So now I think it's important to get you to practice these expressions. Nice to meet you, happy to meet you, good to meet you, and glad to meet you, or pleased to meet you, or pleasure to meet you, whatever. So we have this expression in Amharic that you can use to say nice to meet you to somebody you've met for the first time. How do you say it? If it's masculine, you can say ስላገኘሁ ደስ ብሎኛል. Happy to meet you, nice to meet you, glad to meet you, pleased to meet you, or pleasure to meet you. If it's feminine, you can say ስላገኘሁሽ ደስ ብሎኛል. ስላገኘሁሽ ደስ ብሎኛል. Okay, can you give it a try? Well, I can hear it actually. Okay, so ስላገኘሁ ደስ ብሎኛል. ስላገኘሁሽ ደስ ብሎኛል. Okay, ስላገኘሁሽ. The sh marker. Remember the feminine marker? The sh sound in there. The h sound in the masculine marker in the masculine case, right? So you understand what it is, right? ስላገኘሁ ደስ ብሎኛል. ስላገኘሁሽ ደስ ብሎኛል. Nice to meet you, happy to meet you, good to meet you, glad to meet you, pleased to meet you, pleasure to meet you. Okay. Now, I want to show you these three expressions right before I dive into how to respond to this. Okay, nice to meet you too and all. ደስ ብሎኛል. Like, I have three versions over here. I need you to know these three versions. ደስ ብሎኛል, ደስ ይለኛል, ደስተኛ ነኝ. I'd like to show you the difference among these three expressions. ደስ ብሎኛል, meaning, as you can see, ስላገኘሁ ደስ ብሎኛል. I'm happy to meet you. I'm glad to meet you. That's what it means. What if you say ደስ ይለኛል? Dess ይለኛል means, I mean, it is I'm happy directly translated, but sense for sense, remember, I don't go for word translation. I go for sense translation. Dess ይለኛል means sounds good. Sounds good. You invite somebody to somewhere or something, okay? So how about we do this, how about we do that? And if that person agrees, you would say dess ይለኛል. Okay? What about a movie tonight or something like this? Dess ይለኛል, meaning sounds good. How about a drink? Dess ይለኛል. See? Dess ይለኛል, meaning sounds good. But if you say dess ብሎኛል, at that moment, you're happy to meet that person. Dess ብሎኛል, ስላገኘሁ dess ብሎኛል. Okay? But if you say ደስተኛ ነኝ, it means I'm happy. Meaning like you're living and then you're happy. You're not sad. You're not depressed. You're not, you don't have that negative feelings twirling in somebody's mind. So ደስተኛ ነኝ, meaning I'm happy. Just in general, I'm happy. ደስ ይለኛል sounds good. But ደስ ብሎኛል is different in here. ስላገኘሁ ደስ ብሎኛል. You actually attach it to another expression, okay, or another vocab. In this case, it is ስላገኘሁ or ስላገኘሁሽ. So nice to meet you, happy to meet you, good to meet you, glad to meet you. What are these? ስላገኘሁ ደስ ብሎኛል or ስላገኘሁሽ ደስ ብሎኛል. And how do you respond to these expressions? In English, you already know it. Like if you say nice to meet you too, happy to meet you too, good to meet you too, glad to meet you too. Okay? We'll have to attach the to there right at the end of the expressions. So in Amharic, how do we do this? In Amharic, you say እኔም አንተን ስላገኘሁ, አንተን, you, ስላገኘሁ ደስ ብሎኛል. እኔም, me too. We'll have to attach another word. So እኔም አንተን ስላገኘሁ ደስ ብሎኛል. Or you can say እኔም አንቺን, you, feminine, ስላገኘሁሽ ደስ ብሎኛል. እኔም አንቺን ስላገኘሁሽ ደስ ብሎኛል. Or you can just say እኔም ደስ ብሎኛል. እኔም ደስ ብሎኛል. But if you want to be informal, you can also say እኔም, okay, እኔም. That means you're also happy to meet that person. Okay? So how do you say it? ስላገኘሁ ደስ ብሎኛል. ስላገኘሁሽ ደስ ብሎኛል. እኔም አንተን ስላገኘሁ, masculine, ደስ ብሎኛል. እኔም አንቺን ስላገኘሁሽ ደስ ብሎኛል, feminine. Or you can just say እኔም ደስ ብሎኛል. Okay? And remember the three expressions that I talked about or that I tried to clear. Number one, ደስ ብሎኛል. Okay? ስላገኘሁ ደስ ብሎኛል. ስላገኘሁሽ ደስ ብሎኛል. ደስ ይለኛል sounds good. How about a movie tonight? ደስ ይለኛል sounds good. ደስተኛ ነኝ, you're happy in general, okay? You're not sad. You don't have all that negative feeling that a person could possibly experience. So these are some of the expressions that you can use to say nice to meet you, or glad to meet you, or happy to meet you, or pleased to meet you. We got a lot of them. Remember, those who are attending my class, this is what I'm going to do. When I go live, I'm going to invite you to this session, and I'm going to challenge you to say some of the words that I actually taught here. So make sure you keep each and every word in mind. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. There's a lot of beautiful contents here. If you want to get better at your Amharic, this is the best channel you could find here on YouTube. Companies, embassies, hotels, different institutions, NGOs, whoever you are out there, if you want to upskill your staff's English, Amharic, communication, or public speaking, hit me up, talk to me. Individuals, I need you to know this. If you want to get better at your Amharic, if you want to get better at your English, your friend, your trainer is here. You can email. Our email is down there, lincolnenglishworld@gmail.com. Or you can WhatsApp anytime. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. Next time, everybody.